All right, and we are live once again, shooting the shiz with DK and the Schwag. We are joined tonight by a guy who's become a real good pal. Really love what he's doing. I love the MonstahMag, but he's also got his convention coming up, MonstahXpo 3D. I'm joined by my partner in crime here, the Big Schwag, the Lost Leatherface, the Kemper Killer himself, Brett Wagner, who's also coming to MonstahXpo with me. Joe Souza, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. What's going on tonight?
Same old work, getting ready, and I know you've been on the grind as well, getting ready for your convention coming
Oh yeah,
up.
tying up all those loose ends.
Expo 3D.
Yep.
How much stress does they want to get? Is it easier when you're like a week out, and is it more stressful when you're like a month out, or what? How does the stress factor come into play with you?
The stress starts about a month out. That's when like all the last minute changes come in, the people that can't make it to the show, or the last minute hurdles that you got to get over with. That's pretty much when we really start focusing and got to get all those last details in.
We can go over the guests in a second, but Joe, I don't know if you look comedy real quick. I'm just going to go back over the weekend, but I got to introduce Jeff Foxworthy on stage.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so I got to say like maybe a 3-second joke, 4-second joke, kind of just made a joke. So now, Joe, I officially want to be known as the Big Schwag, Kemper Kill Leatherface, who opened up for Jeff Foxworthy. I mean, you agree with that, right? I should be able to do that?
Making the notes right now.
Now we know this is got a lot going leading up to this show. You do 2 shows a year. You do the first show, the kind of the middle, halfway to Halloween kind of show thing, and that was a success. And now we're coming into the big 3D-er, the MonstahXpo, with a lot of guests. Let's talk about some of those guests you got coming on. And if anybody canceled, let us know, because I'm not canceling.
Nope. Everybody's coming through.
We got, let's talk about some of those guests coming up. I know a lot of our folks and friends are, I mean, it's a pretty nice lineup. Not only do you have the Lost Leatherface, but you got Bob Elmore coming in, a great guy, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Have you ever met Bob before? Did you ever been able to chat with Bob before?
I mean, just a quick, autograph back in the day. I think it was at Rock and Shock or one of those before I was doing the convention. So it was just a regular fan meet. He was definitely moving people through the line, and a great guy to talk to.
Wonderful guy. A great, you got to meet him for the first time at Creep by Econ. And then all this year we've been able to do a couple shows together, been doing some dual costume photo ops with folks. I think we did Morgan Crip up there together in New Mexico, Albuquerque, and really good guy, wonderful guy to chat with. And let's talk about some of those other guests you got coming on. So the folks that may not know that are in the area can, maybe John can pull it up. I don't know, but I know offhand that you know who's coming in. So let's talk about a little bit of them.
Well, we got Michael Berryman coming in, and he's someone I'm really excited to meet. We haven't met him at all before. He's obviously The Hills Have Eyes, and one of my favorite roles. This is like 5-minute appearance in Weird Science as the mutant biker, which is just classic.
Well, we're just about to say Michael Berryman, who's been around for a long, long time. If folks don't know Michael Berryman, and you're into the horror genre, you're out of your mind. He's one of the greatest guys in the world, and I never got to meet him. Obviously, been a big fan of his. One of the reasons I got into acting, man, was I loved The Hills Have Eyes, and he was such a badass in that movie until the dog attacked him. But of course, Weird Science, along with gosh, I'm trying to think of the guy that was with him in Weird Science. Actually, gosh, I know him real well.
We were just talking to Vernon Wells.
Vernon Wells, right?
Yeah, we were just talking
from Road Warrior.
Yep.
Mr. Mohawk himself, Vernon Wells. But then a lot of people might not know this, but Michael Berryman, man, come on. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I don't know how.
That was probably my first experience with him. That was such a great movie. One of my first movies to really make me love cinema, like telling us, a story on the screen. It's just so good.
All the people, Danny DeVito, for God's sakes.
Endless.
Endless. In fact, Danny DeVito and
Christopher Lloyd. Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd.
Yep.
Two guys that are in a groundbreaking movie, and then they do a TV show together, and they're both just excellent actors.
Yeah.
Michael Berryman.
You got Chucky, Brad Dourif as Billy.
Actually, dude, unbelievable
right?
cast.
The amount
Look
of
at
people in there is just insane.
And of course, if people don't know this is a little One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Michael Douglas, that was his production company that produced that movie. And Michael Douglas was thinking about playing the Jack Nicholson role. I'm not saying Michael Douglas wouldn't have done a great job, but he wouldn't have done a greatest job as Jack Nicholson did, because you need someone that's a little crazy, like a guy like you who's putting on, horror movie and sci-fi conventions, which is obviously a pretty nutty thing to do. Talk about, for some of the folks, we'll get back to the people that are coming. Talk about to some of the folks, some of the challenges of putting on your own convention.
It's a lot of scheduling and, planning and mapping pretty much, especially when we have such a big vendor list. We have over 100 different vendors coming in, and, just a lot of book work with keeping track of, who's going where, who's coming in, what size table they want, what kind of special needs they have. And then, the challenges really just come with the time, like John and I were talking about earlier, just finding the time to get everything done. And it never seems like, there's enough time in the day, and stuff just keeps coming in, especially in that last month, where we'll get a field a lot of questions and talk people through a lot that haven't done it before. And, I guess it's just an endless array of never-ending responsibilities. I guess now that I'm talking it out, it's like, why am I?
But this isn't your first time. I mean, you've been doing these shows for a couple of years now.
Yep, we're going on. This will be 2 years for MonstahXpo, but I've been producing shows for 25 years now.
That's right.
I'm doing fine art shows and stuff like that all over Boston.
Yeah, and I'm super excited because Mr. Doomsday's Crypt Keeper right there, the man, the myth, the legend. This is basically almost his hometown out that way. You've been out there long. You grew up in that area, Big John.
Yeah, we're not hearing you.
We'll get him back on there in a second.
Not a problem.
I know we had in the beginning, because you and I talked about this. I got booked long time. I think me and Bob Elmore were like the two first guests that were booked at your show.
Yep.
We had to change the hotel venue.
Yep.
So we're still changed, correct?
Well, we're in the same venue as ever, the conference center, but just the hotel rooms are up the street.
Yeah, and where are the hotel? Are there still hotel rooms available if folks want?
Fairfield Inn in Mansfield. There's still rooms available.
Were you telling me the Fairfield's got a pretty good bar action going on there? Is that what I'm?
Fairfield's going to host us for Friday and Saturday night. For hanging out. They're letting us use the patio, letting us use the bar, letting us use the lobby. Could just be able to hang out, have a good time, relax. The patio is beautiful. Hopefully we get a nice night.
Yeah, it's not bad. All right, let's get back to the guests. Michael Berryman, Bob Elmore, Kemper Killer himself, myself going to be there. Let's talk about some of the other special folks going to be there.
So for Sunday only, we have one of my good friends, Tim Clark, coming back. I'm pretty excited about that. Tim was actually my first guest for my first tiny little Comic-Con show I did in Fall River, which was Troy City Comic-Con. He's worked with Jim Henson, in the past, and has developed the toys Boglins and Sectors from the 80s, and worked on a bunch of other toy lines. But he's, mostly known for his work on Dark Crystal with Jim Henson. He worked with Brian Froud and developed the Mystics for the Dark Crystal. So he has all, that Henson knowledge and all the fun toys from the 80s that he did, known as the King of Gross from the 1980s, Tim Clark. And he'll be selling the new Boglins. He has a bunch of new info on the Sectors movie coming out, also the Boglins movie as well. He's got a lot of stuff happening. It's going to be good to see him again. It's been a while.
Let's talk about a few of the other folks coming in.
Can I touch on? I missed most of the conversation, but I've had a chance to meet Michael Berryman. I met him. My phone going off, of course, in Orlando last year. Awesome guy. If you guys haven't met him yet, you're gonna really enjoy it.
I hear nice. Like a lot of good things about all the guests. People are always saying what great experiences they've had with almost everybody on the circuit. But the amount of people saying like just what a nice guy Michael Berryman is, from other actors to guests that have met him to, agents that we work with, there's just nothing but good stories about that man.
Yeah, I sat next to him up at I want to say I sat next to him up at Frightmare in the Falls, I believe, up in Canada a year ago in the Halloween time. And he was such a gracious guy, or it was either that or Creep by Econ. And he was such a gracious guy. And, the amount of movies and stuff that he's done is pretty impressive. And he's a very well, educated guy. When you speak to him, I felt like, oh, gosh, I feel like I'm not up to his level to even speak to the guy, but he was so gracious, and he was one of those guys that I like to tell him that, you're one of the reasons I became an actor. And he was like, oh, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. So
just the amount of different things that people know him from, like the principal from that Motley Crue video. Which one was it? I'm drawing a blank. Smoking in the boys' room.
Yeah.
He had an appearance on Alf as a scientist that like captured Alf once. Like everyone just remembers him from all these random appearances, and and of course Star Trek: The Next Generation is a big role that a lot of people recognize him from that I didn't realize myself.
I know one of my guys that I take care of recognizes him. He's a big Star Trek fan. Yeah, I got one person I deal with who's huge. Anything Star Trek, and it can be the smallest character. That's all this man reads is books on Star Trek. So he knows every detail.
It's an intelligent audience, Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
John,
very, very intelligent.
Can you bring up that list, John, up on your screen?
Yeah, I want to do that right now. Let me
now if folks don't know, I'm a big food truck guy. I love food trucks, and the rumor has it, Joe, is that we got some pretty cool food trucks coming in.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Last year we had the restaurant for the hotel, but this year they're letting us bring in some food trucks. So and we're going to swap them out, every day or so we get some different things from Saturday from Sunday. So we got a barbecue truck coming in on Saturday that has all, traditional barbecue, brisket, ribs, chicken sandwiches, stuff along those lines. And regular catering truck, a guy called Paul's Catering, who's doing your traditional like burgers, dogs, sausages, breakfast sandwiches for the morning, things like that. And we have a person coming for both days called Cook in a Box, and she has really varied menu from classic things like, Philly cheesesteaks and meatball subs and chicken sandwiches to some Portuguese food, which I'm really excited to see if you guys want to try. Chorizo and peppers, which is kind of a Portuguese sausage that they grind up, mix with some peppers and put in a sandwich. That's really good. That's one of my favorites. Burrito bowls, cheesy fries, fried dough topped with strawberries and whipped cream and blueberries and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm going to be in a diabetic coma already. Yeah. All right, I see we got Dave Sheridan coming in.
Yeah.
Of course, Dave from Scary Movie, and I believe he was in House of a Thousand Corpses as well, playing a deputy. I could be wrong, but I know he's in one of the Rob Zombie movies.
The Devil's
Didn't know what to make of the guy.
Devil's Rejects, I believe.
Devil's Rejects. Yep. Didn't know what to make of Dave Sheridan until I went out and had to give him a ride to a convention a few times when we were doing together. Really good guy. Great with the fans.
It's one of those actors that I met without knowing who it was. I think we were just hanging outside at a convention, just talking, and it wasn't until after we went back to the table that I realized who he was. And it's Victor Crowley is what I like. The Adam Green movie. It's one of my favorite roles for him.
Of course, good guy. You always can find him at all the conventions going around. Of course, Walter Phelan, Dr. Satan himself, is going to be there from House of a Thousand Corpses. Or is he in? He's in House of a Thousand Corpses, is he not?
Yeah, and I think he gets maybe a flashback scene in Devil's Rejects as well, possibly.
Great guy. Walter's a good dude. not many people know this about Walter, but he was in a pretty decent punk band.
Yeah, he seems to be a talented musician.
Yeah, so all these guys, I remember I was signing next to him someplace, and all these guys kept coming up with these, like a record and all these CDs, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Walter's he's an old school punk rocker, man. And I'm like,
Awesome.
oh, that's cool. Love signing with Walter. Is a great guy. Lynn Lowry, who she did a cameo. Of course, Lynn's been in a ton of stuff, but the Crazies, the original Crazies, and then she did a cameo in the remake that I star in, the Crazies, in 2010 with Timothy Oliphant, riding a bicycle around and singing. Lynn is a great guest to have. Really cool chick, and I'm really excited. Chick, look at me, nice lady.
Crazies reunion.
Bring your Crazies posters because we will be signing. Scroll up. There we go.
Who's that guy on the left there?
That is an old picture. Joe decided to go maybe 15 years ago and find one of my headshots. That was like my badass biker headshot that, we don't really kind of use those anymore. But still, it shows, I mean, I guess I could use it. I'm just probably 10 years older than that thing. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped to come. We got a lot of good stuff that there's one thing that I bring when I go to conventions. I bring a lot of merch because I've done a lot of different things. And when I'm sitting, especially if I'm sitting with John at his table or right next to it, we like to always bring as much merch as we can. And being that we have Bob Elmore there as well, and obviously Lynn Lowry, we're probably going to bring a lot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre merch, and we're going to have some Crazies merch. We're going to have the sledgehammers to bring, so I'm pretty excited about that. And of course, myself and Bob will obviously have some of the Funko Pops, Leatherface Funko Pops. But now and Bob Elmore. Bob's, like we said, Bob has been in the game a long time and well known for playing Leatherface and doing the stunts and a whole bunch of different movies that he's been in. But obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is what a fan like myself and John love to get stuff signed. So John, I'm sure we're going to have some stuff for Bob to sign, are we not?
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I'm incredibly excited. What kind of dude who's, I get to sit next to two Leatherfaces. How cool is that at this event? Actually, my buddy Kyle Rappaport, who's going to be joining with me, I told you about him, Joe. He's a special needs actor. We got a little area we're going to set up for him at the table. He's going to have his Blu-rays for sale and signed by him and his buddy Douglas, who made the movie, who may or may not be able to come to the event as well. So we're going to give them a little shine. We're going to have awesome Leatherface stuff. We got the radio tower. We just got a whole bunch of really, real cool stuff. And on top, the Doomsday's Crypt artist, Michael Toth, who does all the badass designs that you see for Doomsday's Crypt, is going to be at the table too. So we got to obviously feature that man right there.
Yeah, so, Michael Toth, who's done a lot of stuff for a lot of different actors. And, I started getting stuff once John introduced me to him. Actually, I think Michael introduced me to John, and I forget who introduced me to Michael Toth, but Michael Toth's an incredible artist.
His buddy Ryan.
And we are so excited to get him out of his cave in Pennsylvania. He hasn't been out of that cave. Michael Toth hasn't been out of that cave for at least 5 or 6 years.
Cavey, awesome stuff, I'll tell you that much. These light up boxes he's doing, these Funko Pops he's doing, these hockey masks he's doing with the black light. Like, we love doing the black light art.
I haven't seen all the posts and stuff. Looks great.
Yeah, he's starting to do these skateboard decks. I mean, when it comes to the art, it's amazing as it is. Yeah. But then he takes the art and does it to a different level. And it's, I'm honored that he's my dude. He's my best pal along with Brett. He's family to me. And he's a kick-ass artist that just does, you see it on the bottom of the screen, the DK and the Shootin the Shizz, DK and the Schwag, the DK and the Bees Horror Buzz. He did all that artwork.
Yeah.
He's gone from
Tothinator.
The ad in MonstahMag.
Yeah, MonstahMag. Yeah, issue 1, and I'll be in issue 2. We got that article coming back out again. The same, well, not article, but page. We're gonna switch it up next issue. Definitely want to keep supporting MonstahMag.
And
if
then
you guys haven't checked it out, what is it? MonstahMag.com. You can find it really, really easy. The first issue still free digitally.
First issue will stay for free. You can check it out online, no charge.
Which is great. But the price you guys got for the a yearly subscription or even by the issue, you might as well pick it up. To have that physical copy is so cool. You had some amazing articles in issue 1.
Thanks,
and
man.
It featured
Supporting
even
a lot of
Beatrice
indie
had
creators.
a little bit of shine in there. She has Ask Mama Kruger, I believe it's called. I forget titles. I'm terrible with it, but she's got her own thing. You can ask her a question and she'll answer it. So get your advice from Mama Kruger, Beatrice. But I'm excited about issue 2. I can't wait to read it. You did a big trauma article with it was great what you guys did with MonstahMag. So check that out.
Thanks.
Sorry for rambling, but I did enjoy the magazine a lot. You got
to. I've been trying to get in there. So if you're in certain states, ask Leatherface where to get a good taco. But Joe has not offered that up. Speaking of the magazine, Joe, I remember we touched on it last time we had you on many months ago. But why did you start the magazine? What was and where does it cover?
It's pretty much covers all of New England. We do touch on some of the, bigger Hollywood stuff and things like that, but we try to focus on the independent horror creators, authors, and artists in New England. And, we have a lot of authors that don't have illustrators, a lot of illustrators that don't have things to illustrate, or, people that have created this content and can't even get it out. I've had a lot of people come up that just say, I'm just looking for a chance to get printed and get my stuff seen, and have it in print. They feel so honored, and I just feel grateful for them to, help out with the project. So it's kind of just a labor of love for all of us involved, all the people that started with MonstahXpo with me. We have such a pool of creators to be able to pull from. And now we have people reaching out from, all over the country. I mean, the magazine's going everywhere, like people from California that are grabbing it saying they just want to keep up with New England because I lived there. I moved out here, but I still want to see what's going on. And so people reaching out, that are, different parts of the country saying they want to draw, they have stories, all sorts of different stuff. So it's been really fun. Definitely a lot of networking. And I think that's really what it's all about, is just putting people together. The same thing with the shows, like seeing the connections that people make at the shows and the creators that they meet, and then seeing the projects that they do down the road has been very satisfying.
I got to say one thing about the magazine also. The quality of the paper and the cover and the print is second to none. You guys went all out with the quality of the magazine.
I don't know if magazine is the right way to go with it.
Yeah,
we're trying to create. It's not something that's time sensitive. Like you can pick it up 5 years from now and read a cool story that's still going to be relevant. We do have some articles and interviews that take place now, but we're going to try to focus more on the stories and the artwork that are going to be able to be enjoyed whenever.
I mean, that's growing up. Fangoria was that, for me. Yep. I mean, that's what I God knows how much money I spent on Fangoria over the years. And then I do remember one time buying the whole collection from somebody up until a certain point, until they went digital. And then I was like, my gosh, what am I going to do with all these magazines? But that's
Fangoria. That's where I learned my stuff. That was pre-internet, when I was doing early makeup applications. That's where I got my tutorials from. It's where I ordered my stuff and where I got the inspiration. There was no, internet to order that stuff from back then. It was all magazine driven.
Well, let's talk about it. You also got a guy named Brimstone, if I'm not correct. If I'm correct, coming. Talk about Brimstone.
So he's a WWF, WWE wrestler. Now he's a big content creator, has his own comic book. Just brings a lot of energy to the show. He's going to be doing the announcements throughout the show, letting everybody know what's going on and pumping up the audience. We met at a couple shows before. He's just a all-around fun guy, brings a lot of energy. He's going to keep the show, everybody informed and pumped up.
That's great. We've and me and John talk about it all the time, especially when you're doing shows. It's always, I think it's an added bonus when you have someone on a microphone at least pushing and talking about the crowd and telling people what's going on, who's signing what. If there's a panel, it's always, and a lot of people don't, I offer my services all the time when I'm doing shows if they need it. And some people don't. All I need is a microphone at the table, or exactly. I can step away. So it's always nice to have that because then people know what's going on, and that they know where to go.
It's a lot to take in. A lot to take in, a lot of stimulation at the show, so it's easy to forget you're supposed to be at this panel at 1:30, or the photo ops going on at your table at 2:30, or whatever it's going to be.
Penny Dreadful.
She's a local horror host that's been around forever, and when she reached out and asked to come to the show, I was really amazed. I mean, she was a staple at Rock and Shock. The amount of people that she has following her, and the feedback that we got when we announce her every year. She comes to almost every show, and she just always draws a huge crowd. A lot of faithful followers. Actually, the magazine, she's the cover article in the second issue of the magazine, talking about her whole, career and what she's done.
That's great. Hey, you can stick her right by our table then. That's fine.
She's actually right near you.
She's a YouTuber, right?
Yeah, she's a YouTuber. She does, she has a local public access, horror hosting show. She's, hosted tons of different, she wins lots of awards for all the podcasts and things that she's done as well. And she wrote a lot of the Masters of the Universe bios for the action figures and stuff like that, like the comic books. And
wow,
very well-rounded. He-Man fan. I was an '80s kid.
Exactly,
so
like
that's
I was
right up my
alley
right there.
But she's got tons of little credits like that I wasn't aware of until after reading everything she sent over.
Yeah,
the guy, the voice of Skeletor, I'm trying to think of his name right now. My friends over at Celebworks manage him. He's in his 90s and he still goes to conventions and signs. Even during COVID, the guy was going out and signing. I'm in my 90s. Who cares? Let's go. I mean, and that's great. But, a lot of great guests. So we're stacked on the guests. We got a lot of good people. You're going to be there. Obviously, you got a really great staff. We're excited to be there. John's going to.
Some great vendors. I've been looking at your vendor features. You got some amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about
it. Some real talented vendors, and I can't wait to see their tables.
Yeah, they've got a lot of new people coming that I'm excited for. Seems like we have a lot of taxidermy this year, which is always popular. I was glad to get more people coming. That the word's getting out. They always bring some cool stuff. People are always asking for that. Happenstance Horror Fest is running both days. We got a huge theater for that this year, over 100-seat stadium style. George is bringing in an excellent sound system. We only had standing room last year. We had a smaller room, so we expanded it for this year. Running 2 days. We got over 85 films from all over the country, some from all over the world, being shown for the 2 days. A lot of the creators are going to be there in the Artist Alley, so you can meet them, talk to them about it. We got the Attack of the Killer Refrigerator guys showing up because they're gearing up to make part 2. They're going to bring the fridge for photo ops and lock people in it and chop their arms off and all that fun stuff. So a lot of indie fun on the first floor. The Artist Alley is a lot of independent, authors, movie makers, and of course the Happenstance Horror Fest. Upstairs we have, the smaller business section where we have people from around, representing the local businesses and things like that in Taunton, with the second vendor floor upstairs, along with the other guests. Geez, who else we got new to the show this year that I'm excited? We had a lot of creators. Nephews FX bringing a lot of silicone and latex masks. I'm excited to see that stuff. Of course, Doomsday Crypt's going to be bringing a lot of stuff. That's going to be an awesome setup. A lot of my author friends, a lot of my, people that have always been with us from the get-go, a lot of artists and a lot of authors that we opened up the show with. Endless creators when it comes to different properties. The guys from I think Within Dreams will be there. They do the Stalking Dead. A lot of fun people. Tons of different things to check out. Really rounded. You're not going to walk into a floor full of pops and a floor, like all the same stuff. We try to keep the floor, not all jewelry, not all candle makers. Like try to keep it really well juried.
I'm afraid I'm going to spend all my money on the vendors, more than I make, and I'm going to go in a deep hole just because every picture I've seen of every vendor there, you guys, I think you're going to be blown away by some of these people, like you said, bringing in these products and their art and their masks and what they do. You're going to really appreciate that, along with the amazing guests that are coming in.
Yeah, a lot of general merch guys too. People bringing in collectibles, new and old. That's I'm excited for. got someone joined us that I've been trying to get for a while, bringing a lot of vintage VHS. You know, you're going to find all that eclectic, you know, stuff that you're not going to find anywhere else except these specialty shows.
Man, gosh, I have bins and bins full of VHS. Don't tell me that, because you know you're a hardcore collector whenever Dawn of the Dead was a prime example. They used to come out with the VHS tapes, and then the next month it was like, ooh, the bonus edition, and then the next 2 years later was, ooh, George Romero's favorite edition, and then it was the extra 2-minute and VHS is making a big comeback right now as far as people collect them as well, especially when you go to the cons and you see these guys that just have rows and rows of VHS. And
speaking of VHS boxes, we're going to have our mystery VHS boxes there, custom big Schwag.
That's something that
with amazing art by Michael Toth, who's going to be there. You can see all the art. We try to do some fun things with VHS boxes since nobody has a VCR anymore, and add some killer art to it, some magnets, some keychains. Always a mystery.
Yeah, it looked like a great idea. I love the idea.
It's a lot of fun. They're really cool.
Yeah, it's a surprise box, right? It looks like it is a VHS box with some cool stuff inside. So, and then of course we'll be there to sign them, and amazing artwork. And then the stuff inside is pretty cool. I have one. I purchased one myself just so I could have it. And we put it up in the
double too. You know, like that's a collector's item.
Listen, they are great for your display case. They're great for a collector's item because that's what they are. So we're pretty excited to be bringing a whole bunch of that stuff. And I think we even have some stuff for the crazies. So probably get Lynn Lowry to sign it as well. So yeah, man, we're pumped up. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a great, both John and myself, we're flying out there. Then I have to fly to Louisville for 3 or 4 days for the Bad Boy Mowers, the company I work for. And then I have to drive on to Lexington. So I'm going to be out for 10 days. I know John's going to be out for probably, if not the same, maybe a little bit longer.
I'm out longer than that. I leave Wednesday morning. I'm picking up Mike and Kyle and actually then I got to go pick up your bus I was talking about in Connecticut. And I was telling Joe about, and then heading straight to Taunton, Massachusetts, and be ready to rock and roll on. When is it? Well, I'll talk to you about that, but I'll find out when setup is. So I'm there, I'm ready, and we'll get that setup done real quick. But yeah, we're excited for it. We're real excited. It's my first time being to Massachusetts in a while. I haven't seen a lot of friends. It's my first time meeting Michael Toth in person and Kyle. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how long of a flight you have, but you're on the road quite a bit. I'm on the road quite a bit. It's going to be a long month. I got 3 weekends of total chaos that I'm trying to prepare for, but I'm excited for it too. I think I'm ready.
Nice.
We'll see.
We're trying to get as stressed as you, Joe. We're trying to get that feeling so we can be all one stressed unit.
I was telling Joe we got matching bags under our eyes.
Yeah.
Right now, so yeah, I know he's been busting ass, and I'm real excited for what you're putting on it. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, we're pumped up, and again, we obviously appreciate what you do, and keep doing this, and anything we can do to help you to keep this thing going and getting bigger. And then I don't know, John, if you did. I know last night you kind of told folks what was going on and a little special deal you're doing. Let's I don't know. Let's tell Joe what's going on. So maybe so Joe wants to come visit you.
I was like, all right, we've been on a roll. We did a whole bunch of Crypticons, and now we're rolling into MonstahXpo 3D in Taunton, Massachusetts. Then the weekend after, we're going to be at Scarefest, Kentucky. And then there's something going on in the town. They asked me to set up. I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. I'd like to set up. That'd be fun. I thought about it. And then I thought maybe I could bring somebody in. One of my good friends now that Brett introduced me to, Michael Bailey Smith, Super Freddy, Pluto from the Hills Have Eyes, Hades from Part 2, also in a ton of other things. I mean, you could list all of Mike's accomplishments. Is coming to town to rock the area with my parents, my family being here, a lot of my friends. It's going to be an exciting time, but it's going to be a busy time setting up, but it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, that is Harrisonville.
Harris, the events in Peculiar, I'm working on some other things, not event, because it's just a buddy coming in. We're going to do something special for the town.
Peculiar.
Peculiar, I keep wanting to say Massachusetts, Missouri. And then we're also trying to do something in Harrisonville and possibly in Belton. So those are all connected towns. It should be an exciting weekend, a lot of work, but I think we're going to pull it off. Yeah,
that's great. So we start off with, well, I'll be in Vegas this weekend. I will be doing the Halloween maze in Vegas, and we're going to stop over Saturday. We're going to have a little Desert Fiends reunion, the movie I did, Joe, earlier this year with Scout Taylor Compton and Tom Arnold and Kerry Maguire, who's also in Terrifier 2. So we're having a little Desert Fiends Terrifier 2 reunion at Nightmare Cafe, which is great because Joe Bob Briggs, I believe, is signing there that day. So
very cool.
I'm a big fan of his and never got to meet him. So I'm going to obviously, in between my tacos or whatever I'm eating, going to sneak over there and say hello and get a picture with Joe Bob Briggs. But then we come to Taunton with you, and then we're off to Kentucky for Scarefest. And then John's going to be in Peculiar, Missouri. And I am going to be Halloween weekend. I am going to be, or the 27th and the 28th, I'll be flying into Iowa. And on that Friday night, I'll be working in Nebraska at a haunt. And then I will be the next night in Iowa at a haunt. And then, but this is what we like, right, Joe? This is the jobs and the something that has kept us all excited our whole lives. So we just got to keep going.
A body in motion stays in motion. At least sometimes I feel like falling over, but it's been a lot of fun. It is a fun journey, and I am really, really excited to hit Taunton, Massachusetts. Not the drive, but Taunton, Massachusetts. Once I'm there, I'll be happy. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. I thank you again, Joe, for all the support for Doomsday's Crypt. Really, really an honor to be in the magazine and be at the event and be a part of it with all you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like we said, tons of vendors, Michael Berryman, Lynn Lowry, you name it. Some really, really cool, nice people that you're going to meet there. Check it out. 14th and 15th of October. Not this weekend, next weekend. Be there. Peace out, guys. Take
Joe,
care.
real quick. Joe, I do believe I get in about 4:30 at the airport.
You're ready.
4:30-ish, 4:40-ish.
What do you want? An Escalade limo, Brett? First class, right?
I'll take a Honda Element. I'm okay. It doesn't matter.
Look at this guy.
If I can get a free rent-a-car, I will take care of it myself. I'm going to look. If not, it's 4:30 or 4:40. I will send you that info so you have it.
Yep.
And I will look the same just in case someone needs to come find me. I won't shave and I'll be dressed this way.
You're gonna grow out the mohawk though. Is the hawk coming back?
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna have. It's gonna take.
Man, you got about a week and a half to get it done.
We might be able to get a little bit of a hawk going. But anyways, thank you, Joe. It's always a pleasure. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing you and seeing all the folks out there. And Taunton, am I saying that right?
Taunton.
Yeah. We're excited to see everybody come down, check it out. Joe, if they want to still purchase tickets, where can they go look and see the whole lineup?
MonstahXpos.com. Take you to everything you need.
All right, there we go, big man. All right, hey, John, thanks, buddy.
All right, well, thank you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
Thank you, Joe.